Hi everyone, Simon Keeling here at weatherweb.net on Monday the 31st of March. Thanks again for watching. Just a reminder that the site here is all kept free of charge by you because you keep on coming back and using the site, using the charts and watching the videos. And that means that we can put more adverts in front of you, it means we get more sponsorship, and that means that we generate the revenue that keeps the site free of charge. So a big thank you for doing that and for telling all your friends about us as well. It's amazing the growth the site's seen in the last 12 months. So thank you again for that. I thought I'd just take a quick review of what's happening more broadly. Haven't done this for a while, so I thought we'd do that first of all today. This is the daily sunspot numbers from Climate for You, and we've got the years along the bottom here. Look. Okay, so we've got the years there. This ends at the end of February this year. And what we have is the black line here is the running mean, basically. And you can see the peaks and the troughs in the sunspot cycles here going back to 1978. And you notice that gradual downward trend in the maximums. And we're just about, we think, at the peak of the sunspot cycle at the moment. You notice from there, look, how we see kind of a double peak in each of the cycles. Look, there's one, there it is again, and here it is again. So we do see that double peak effect, and it looks like we're around about past that now. So actually the sun is very quiet compared to other cycles, although at the moment it's pretty near the maximum of its activity for this cycle that we're currently on, and the investigations going on as to the impact that could have on our climate. Those investigations ongoing. Sea ice, we take a look at that as well quite regularly, as you know. This is quite an interesting chart that I don't think I've shown you before. This is sea ice extent going back to 1978. The blue line is Northern Hemisphere, and the Southern Hemisphere is the red here. And you notice here, look, how the extent of Southern Hemispheric sea ice has increased, while the extent of Northern Hemispheric sea ice has dramatically decreased during the period from 1978 onwards, really. We really saw this increase, though, in Southern Hemispheric sea ice in the mid-2000s, but the decrease in Northern Hemispheric sea ice has been going on for some time. That particularly relevant, given the report today that's out, of course, from the IPCC on the impacts of climate change and adaptations to it. So just a couple of interesting charts there that I just wanted to show you, and they will have an impact on the winter's weather. Something else that's going to have an impact on the winter's weather and the weather of the summer as well is El Nino, and this is the prediction from the CFS model for the El Nino 3.4 region, which is the region that we're most interested in. And this is the prediction going forwards for 12 months. And notice here, look, how we've been bouncing around neutral in the El Nino for some time. Dipped briefly into a weak La Nina earlier on this year, but then look what's forecast to happen. The black line here showing us the mean of the various different runs, and you notice there virtually all the runs taking us into an El Nino situation, and quite a strong El Nino too predicted by the end of the year. So what impact does that have? Well, this is the impact generally that El Nino has, and I guess that the one that we're interested in is this one here, June through August look. And you notice over Europe, actually, at the moment the research doesn't come up with many impacts through Europe. But I'm going to show you over the next few days, go back and have a look at some years where El Nino triggered off during the course of the year after being neutral, and we'll compare and contrast that with previous years. Where it has the biggest effect basically through the summer months is across the equatorial or near equatorial regions of Central America, where it makes it drier and warmer. We get warmer conditions off the east of South America, warm and wet conditions for the west of South America, and it has a big impact too across Malaysia, Indonesia, and also across Australia, where we get drier and cooler conditions typically within that zone. It looks like staying positive into the winter months as well, and this is the impact into winter. And you notice how it has a bigger impact during the winter months, how there are more impacts shown on there. And the main impact really is through the states, where we get wetter, cooler conditions across the south, generally warmer conditions across the northern states, but also look running into southeastern parts of Asia, where it tends to be warm, and we tend to get dry conditions here extending out into the Pacific, and normally warmer conditions as well extending into Australia, and drier, warmer conditions for southern Africa, but wetter across central parts of Africa as well. Having said that, I do think it's going to have a play into this summer's weather. Starting to advise private clients about that now as well, and I want to get you an update on that through here too. But what I want to do is for private clients to be able to utilise that data first, obviously because it is quite market sensitive, but I'll get that out to you as soon as I possibly can. Incidentally, if you're interested in becoming a private client yourself or want to know what you can do, just click on the Contact Us button there on WeatherWeb, fill in your details here and send it through to us, and we'll get in touch and let you know what we can do. Anyway, just to finish off, just take a look at where the ECMWF takes us over the next few days, and this is quite interesting. This is the ECMWF. It goes forward in 24-hour steps. The time is shown here, look. So this was the analysis valid for last night, and if I just knock it on, you see that big trough here, look, that's out towards the west of the UK at the moment. Here's the weak ridge in here as well. Let me just show you what goes on though with that trough as we head towards the end of this week. Look, it gets cut off and it forms a little cold pool of its own across the central parts of the Mediterranean, across France as well, bringing more unsettled conditions here. But this mild southwesterly flow picks up again, and what this does is it's constantly pumping warm air northwards. So it builds the heights in in this region here, and we find a ridge developing, and you notice there that's what happens, look, by the 5th. So we've got this ridge that's developed that's all the way through into Scandinavia. Look, it brings the flow back here, still got the remnants of this trough down here, and then as we head into the early part of next week, our ridge is still there, look, and while we've got this warm pump of southwesterly winds, we will tend to find that tendency for that ridge to come back in. So it's showing us that probably southern and eastern areas of the country generally staying drier, but always with these winds, these southwesterly winds, oh, done it again there, these southwesterly winds running up the west, always damper conditions out towards the west. And the ECMWF then, what it wants to do early next week, look, is it actually gets our ridge across Europe, but this strong trough here, look, it's pulling that eastwards, and what it tends to do is whiz the trough east, bringing cooler conditions for a short time. But then again, look what happens by the 10th. We've got this ridge building back in again, this air pumping north, this little trough here, and I think what this is going to do, and what this is tending to show us, is the idea that this trough here will get cut off by a ridge building through here. That may well sink down into here, and I think we could be looking at the scenario probably around about the middle of the month, where we have that trough in here, we have a ridge through the country, we have dry conditions generally across most of the British Isles, with that trough always tending to want to go back into the Mediterranean. I'll hopefully show you more about that tomorrow though. Just wanted to show you where we were with things just now. So hopefully that's been useful for you. Thanks again for watching weatherweb.net, and whatever you're doing today, have a great day and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.